The Accidental Wizard, Part One and a Half. 23rd of March. Things I like. Science. Broken lawnmowers. The feel of my wife's lips when she kisses me. Grapes. The mysteries of the universe. Quantum physics. Astronauts. Barry Sheen. Speed. Looking in someone's mind. It's official then. I'm a 5-year-old deviant with an IQ. Have you ever been to a meeting of Mensa members? Probably not if you have any sense. It's a pick-up club for old men who like chasing young brainy girls. So they aren't that stupid then, but they do seem to be incapable of understanding even the simplest psychic truth. I'm even more sad than I was at the funeral, which is not encouraging. I'm developing long-term depression and am more bipolar than ever. I've written a list of things I want to put right. My mum told me an angel lives above Glastonbury Tor and it's a portal, whatever that is. She also said I should visit the College of Psychic Studies. She's been gently programming me for years and years to prepare me. How beautiful is that fact? I love that. Makes me feel like a wizard. Actually, I suspect I might be a wizard, or an angel, or a demon. How is it possible to get those mixed up? Well, I have, which is worrying. When I was a baby, or very young, angels and demons used to come into my room. Sometimes I felt the love and light of the angels, and other times there was darkness and cold fear. The angels had soft, shining faces, and they floated in the air. The demons clumped like horses with hooves and were very ugly and angry. My ears would whistle, though not both sides at once, rather one at a time. Then I would spin round in my cot till I was a blur, and would leave with whoever had come for me. I think I might have some sort of natural weapon in me. They might have put it there, like the staff of Aaron, or the Ark of the Covenant, something unseen run on divine energy. I have no idea why it should be there. My brother would tell me I was imagining it. Maybe I am. Maybe I'll use it on him first. Only kidding, Pete. Love you, really. At least you give a shit. 14th of May. I am an ordinary, unremarkable person. I don't pretend to have any specialist spiritual knowledge, but I do pick up a lot of information along the way. I'm intuitive, sensitive. I seem to know things I can't remember being told or remember learning. Is that past life memory? Possibly. Connected to the higher collective conscious? Steady matron. I travel a great deal. I have a very inquiring mind. I have a natural ability to understand how things work. When science runs out of answers, I start making up my own. Scientists see this as a very bad thing indeed. Richard Dawkins detests it, if anyone should dare to, which is why he distrusts religion, and I don't blame him for it. But he's missing out on the joy of enlightenment. Sure, he can bask in intellectual and factual certainty, and that is his truth, but I suspect there's more, and I want to know what that is. I want to embrace it, to own it. I'm talking about the spiritual. I want to feel sure in my own mind whether or not there's a God, whether we're alone and forsaken or not. Why are there so many references to angels in our culture? Everyone from Robbie Williams to the Prophet talk about them. So there must be something in it, as I respect both sources big time. I've started reading books on the subject. New Age spiritualism type stuff. It talks about the sort of thing my mum has always gone about. I am not a hippie, by the way. I'm also not a tree hugger, although I did try it and it felt good. But don't tell anyone that. My sister Tracy just told me she has had conversations with fully formed people who are dead. She had a conversation with her dead father-in-law, whom she'd never met. He had his face an inch from hers when she woke up in the middle of the night, which was startling to say the least, and when she went down to the kitchen, the cups on the Welsh dresser were swinging, which they do for no reason quite regularly. When she turned round, he was sitting at the table. He told her things which she woke her startled husband up and told him. Weird, right? Okay, so here are some thoughts from now before we progress any further with the story. A word about angels. They're going to figure in this little chat you and I are having, so I wanted to tell you what I know about some of them now. I'm cheating a bit in my chronology, but this might help. Uriel, Metatron and Michael are my closest angelic guides, which is a powerful team. Uriel appears in my photographs as a white hexagonal shape, often in the exact centre of the photo. Michael sometimes merges with him, giving the image a blue tinge. Metatron is huge and milky with a red and orange edging to his shape. Angels are omnipresent, and they can appear to as many people as they like at the same time. They can and will do anything. Uriel is the angel of floods and earthquakes, which is appropriate really, as I've spent so much time documenting both. And Metatron is connected very, very powerfully to God itself, themselves, herself. Delete where applicable. He's also the angel of death in that he's responsible for the stellar gateway, the bridge to heaven, and he holds the Akashic record. This is the record of everything. Every breath, act, deed, blade of grass, atom, everything. It's why people say their life flashes before them when they have a near-death experience. They step into the Akashic record between life and death and start to see their contribution. Souls who are reluctant to face it often get stuck and wander the earth as spirits, such as their desire not to face the music, as it were. Metatron was incarnated as Enoch, or Elijah in the Talmud, and is the only angel to have walked the earth as a man apart from his twin brother Sandalphon, which literally means twin brother in Greek. Only angel to have walked the earth apart from the Nephilim, who are fallen angels and a bit naughty, and we'll get to them later. Metatron and Sandalphon understand what it means to experience pain, fear, and hunger physically. Michael is the comforter to people who've lost their way, or conviction, or who suffer from some sort of addiction. His sword is used for cutting the snares of entrapment, and he is the ally of exorcists. Raphael is the angel of healing and cure, and Shamuel is the angel of love. There are many angels, and everyone finds they work with different ones. You just know when they're around, who you are close to, and what they represent. And there are also plenty of books, and our friend Google, where you can find out everything you need to know. You'll find it's very consistent. I'm beginning to realise I've visited a surprisingly high proportion of the areas around the planet which are deemed portals and earth chakras. And I'm just a bloke from Chiswick, London, who makes science programmes for telly. I'm on a personal spiritual mission, a bit like the Blues Brothers, and I want to know things, but I suspect you are more interested in hearing what happens next rather than me trying to explain it all now. In a world first for modern media, I'm going to assume you're extremely intelligent and well informed. I'm not going to treat you like a baby or an idiot, because that's how everybody else is made to treat their audience. The media think you're too stupid to think for yourself, but that won't be the case here. If you do start feeling a bit bamboozled or lost, can I suggest you refer to the internet? I didn't set out to be a substitute for Wikipedia in writing this book. Great thing, the internet. The externalization of our nervous system, as Marshall McLuhan called it. You'll never have heard of him, but trust me, he was clever. The theory goes the Earth is just like us and has concentrations of energy like we do in our own bodies, but in relation to the planet, energy is released from an area called Middle Earth. Scientists refer to the belt where spacecraft orbit as Middle Earth. Maybe they're right. Maybe our electromagnetic outer blanket around the Earth is where the Earth's energy is stored. Makes sense as it's measurable and the Earth is not hollow. It also makes sense with your own body energy, and my scientific mind is thinking about the importance of the electromagnetic shields around the Earth. Electromagnetism is very important, and I recommend you try to learn as much about it as possible. When I was making a show about the Bermuda Triangle, we reflew the legendary Flight 19 route to see what effect electromagnetism might have on their disappearance. Flight 19 famously disappeared just after World War II ended while they were flying a routine mission out of Fort Lauderdale in Florida. At the same time as the original squadron reported having problems with their instruments, which was 4:10 p.m. in the afternoon, we ran into problems. Same takeoff time, same course, same plane. It was very eerie indeed. Our turn and slip indicator froze, as did the compass. In both the Avenger and the modern plane filming us. I filmed this happening and we put it in the show. It felt very surreal. We flew on for a few minutes with no compass, but we were soon unsure about where we were, which was exactly what happened to the original flight. Flight 19 flew on and became increasingly confused about where they were. They eventually ran out of fuel and ditched and were lost. We switched on the GPS compass and flew home, but I experienced for myself what it feels like to be over water in a plane and not know which way is home. With Fort Lauderdale in sight, I noticed 5 shiny objects wheeling above us. They were travelling very fast, and it was virtually impossible to say what they were, but they weren't anything I could categorise. I think these may have been my first UFOs. We discovered that the Bermuda Triangle area has a 6% lower electromagnetic field than the rest of the planet, thanks to the Danish Meteorological Office, who was surveying the planet with a satellite at the time. They couldn't believe it either, as that's a massive differential. 0.1% would be huge. 6% is almost unimaginable, but there it was. No wonder compasses spin, people get lost, and strange fogs appear in the triangle. 1st of September. When I met my wife in 1991, very long time ago, she was my client. I started falling in love with her immediately. She's 5'4", unbelievably cute, with huge brown eyes, which bore into you like lasers. Her short, bobbed hair is brown and sleek, and she has the prettiest feet I've ever seen. You can tell an awful lot about someone by the state of their feet, can't you? She's a charming host and is a fascinating polyglot of Italian and Dutch heritage. She can speak 4 languages. She didn't speak a word of English till she was 16. Any trace of a foreign accent has been eradicated, which is an indicator of her incredible ear for language and her intelligence. She has a very aristocratic Roman nose like Caesar had on those ancient coins, if you've ever seen one. I wanted to marry her almost right away. The first time I shook her hand, I felt she was Jewish, and a tragic Jew at that. She's not Jewish, but I felt she was. I could feel her dying, struggling for breath, and then being riddled with bullets. Nice, right? I still fell in love, but the impression was very disturbing. She eventually admitted to having a recurring nightmare where she escapes from a room filling with water through a small window with her brother behind her. She swims out into water and she can see the sun above, but is horrified to realise She's under a thick layer of ice, and she drowns along with her brother, helpless. In concentration camps, the Nazis used Zyklon B gas on prisoners. They would be stripped naked and herded into a room with a small grate in the roof, the only source of light or air. Then Zyklon B pellets would be dropped into the room through the grate. On exposure to the air, the pellets would become a deadly gas, which was a development of the mustard gas they used in World War I. It would make the victim feel as if they were drowning, as it paralysed the respiratory system as well as scarring it beyond use if anyone survived breathing it in. The poor souls who were killed like this would be found in a human pyramid as they died, clawing their way to the light and the only source of oxygen. That's where I think my darling, beautiful wife met her fate in a previous life. Before we get into the murky depths of my spiritual journey together, and it's my profound wish that it becomes a journey for you too, where UN changed... Oh, I'll say that again. I completely messed that up. I'll do it again. Before we get into the murky depths of my spiritual journey together, and it's my profound wish that it becomes a journey for you too, Sorry, this is one of those sentences that makes you fall over. I'm going to have a third go at it. Bear with me. Before we get into the murky depths of my spiritual journey, and it's my profound wish that it becomes a journey for you too, where you end changed from how you began, there's something I want to say. Hooray. Got there. I am not a self-regarding person with an insufferable male ego, despite how it might look so far. I have issues with self-confidence and self-belief. I overcompensate. I always have had a tendency to put the interests and happiness of others first. I'm shy. So shy I couldn't pay for a cinema ticket or ice cream when I was little, and I stuttered. Really badly. But the process of writing something about your personal journey requires a fair amount of the first person singular. This is about me trying to find myself and not dissolve the way I have so many times in my life. And maybe this journey together will help you on a voyage of discovery too. I hope so. Writing your first book, even if it's a diary like this, is also a bit like having your first new car. Metaphorically, you drive too fast and show off. So I promise to try and calm down as we get further into this story and I settle down a bit. I'm going to talk about some intensely personal stuff, so please be gentle with me, as what I would like to explain to you might give you comfort about the meaning of your own life and its significance. I have seen enough of the damage natural disasters bring to comprehend what a tenuous grip we have on survival. Walking amongst the rubble of what was a town, a community, and has been reduced to dust in less than a minute, really brings that comprehension into focus. I think these experiences I have had in Indonesia, Pakistan, Haiti, Chile, and Japan have shown me what nature can do. There have been many experiences and lessons for me which have come out of this, but what it has done is bring me closer to the angelic realm. There's always intense spirit activity in earthquake zones, as they are active with recently deceased souls, angels of protection and archangels who watch over the earth when it's in turmoil. There's a sense of something which is always the same in disaster areas. The sense of sorrow is mixed with an angelic calm. Archangel Metatron, Uriel, Michael, Raphael, Shamuel and Gabriel bring the strength and the tools to survive such calamity, and I feel them with me whenever I walk amongst the rubble of what's been a town, where hundreds, sometimes thousands, of unfortunate bodies lie crushed beneath tons of concrete. The angels can touch you at any time, And as well as the more extreme moments in my life when I've been amongst the carnage of a recent tsunami or quake, something as simple as walking the dogs in Richmond Park in London can produce a meeting with one of them, which is always a humbling experience. I think the way they appear is to match a form we can understand. In other words, our own physical appearances of a human but with a celestial aura. I think wings were added to explain their ability to levitate, so as not to scare us, and the interpretation stayed. They're believed to be radioactive, which might explain biblical references to being burned by coming too close to them.